Rev up your engines!
Mr. Herrera says, a 2003 Mitsubishi Eclipse is for sale. The guy's selling it for $1,200, but there's damage from hitting a deer. I might want to take it up my first project car. It runs and drives. 140,000 miles. Is it goodbye? $1,200 and it's damaged? No. Bodywork costs a fortune. Now, if it's all smashed up in the front, but it still runs and stuff, he offered a guy $800 or something for it. Because bodywork costs too much money to do correctly. And if you want to learn how to do it yourself, great. But you don't pay much for a body damaged car. Odds are the car's got more damage than the car's worth. If you had a car like that, if the guy lets you drive it to a body shop and say, what would it cost to fix this? And you'll find out it'll probably be 2 or 3 times what you're paying for the car. Now, if you can get it for, $800 or something, you want to try to fix it yourself, go right ahead. But I wouldn't put too much time and energy or money into a car like that if it hit a deer. Steve Lee says, Scotty, is low mileage just as bad as high mileage at a certain age of a car being bought used? Being left standing too long. Of course, standing too long is bad for a car. There's no arguing that. You would actually have to know the history of a car if you were buying it used. For example, say you go to an estate sale. Maybe it's somebody's car that's passed away and it sat for 8 years and wasn't used hardly at all. Yeah, all the seals are dry and rotten. You don't want to buy a car like that. But if it's a car that somebody's only driving 2,000 to 3,000 miles a year, it's perfectly fine to buy that way. The metal of the engine isn't going to wear any out. But if you get a 20-year-old car, all those rubber seals are going to start wearing and cracking just from plain age. So that's the stuff that you'd have to check out if you were buying a car that was old and was low mileage. But generally, they're pretty good cars, as long as they're not all dry rot. You're probably going to have to buy new tires if the tires are old. But a lot of the other stuff can be good. Just never pay much for a car that's really old. Doesn't matter how many miles it has on it. They're just not worth all that much money. Milkwin40 says, what do you think about a Mercedes 190E 2.0 gas engine? They're strong engines. They can run a long time if you change the oil regularly. A 4-cylinder 2-liter Mercedes engine is a well-made engine. That said, if it's got an automatic transmission, they're extremely slow vehicle. They're a heavy vehicle with a 4-cylinder engine, and they were never that popular in the United States. Now, if you're in Europe and you're buying one that has a standard transmission, could be a very good, fun car to drive around. It's got enough horsepower to run a standard transmission, but it isn't that good for an automatic transmission. So, if it's in Europe and it's a standard transmission, go ahead. But if it's in the United States, it's automatic, I'd pass and buy something else. Aaron Ditchfield says, Scotty, I got a tapping noise from the rear brake after I changed the pads that were worn to the plates. First thing you want to do is look at the rotors. I got a video I just put up a few weeks ago called this is how you fix your car when it's shaking, when you're driving, when you brake. You want to check those rotors, because if they're warped or you can feel ridges on them, you're going to have to change the rotors, because that's going to make that noise. Or if you don't care, just live with the noise. It isn't going to hurt anything. You do want to check it, though. Make sure all the parts are in there tight, all the hardware's in it, the bolts are on tight. You don't leave anything loose. But if you put everything on tight, odds are the rotors weren't. And if you don't care about the noise, live with it. But if you don't like the noise, buy new rotors. Aftermarket rotors these days are so cheap and easy to get, you could just replace them. They don't cost all that much. KJB Soldier says, I got a Nissan Altima with 157,000 miles. I change the oil every 3,000 miles. How much life do you think I have? Okay, the weakest things of those things were their automatic transmissions, and after that is the engines. If your engine does not burn oil now, maybe if it burns a quart between changes, that's nothing. But as long as it doesn't burn an excessive amount of oil, the engine's still in good shape and it might last a while. And if it's an automatic transmission, if it still shifts good, it could last a while. But if it burns a lot of oil or that the transmission doesn't shift right, get rid of it now, because they become endless money pits. Since it's with that mileage and its age, it's worth nothing anyways. So you might as well just take care of it and drive it and see. You never know. You never know. Peter, what do you think about a 2014 Honda CR-V EXL with 36,000 miles made in Canada? Well, this is a great vehicle. Canadians know how to make cars. I went to my first university, York University in Toronto, and Canada, obviously. And I know guys that worked in the factories there. And they did excellent work. They made great vehicles. I had a Ford Maverick that was made in Oakville, Ontario. It was one of the best vehicles I ever had. I paid $500 for it, and I drove it for 10 years all over North America, down to Texas, all over the place. Canadians make good cars. You buy one that's made in Canada? My wife's old Matrix, that's now my car, it was made in Cambridge, Ontario. Canadians make good cars, If I get a choice to buy a car, if I can get one made in Canada, believe me, I'll buy one. M1A2149 says, Scotty, I have an 85 Ford Mustang. Which engine should I swap? Should I rebuild the 5.0? Rebuild the 5.0 or get a long block 5.0 that's already been remanufactured. Those are great engines. They're strong. They can last a long time. Those are good engines. I wouldn't start swapping. You start swapping things. It's modern enough, 85. If you swap the engines, you're going to have to do all kinds of computer reprogramming and sensors and wiring, and it would be a giant pain in the butt. And a 5 liters are very good engines. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.